In this movie, we're going to build a simple 3D world consisting of a floor and a wall. If you already know how to use 3D in After Effects, you can go ahead and skip this movie. However, if you're relatively new to 3D in After Effects, or if you'd like to pick up some tips on how to position wall objects so they fit together, build seamless tiles, and a couple other tricks, hang on, we've got a few things to show you. I'm going to build a simple floor and wall using these images of concrete. This image is going to be my wall, and this image is going to be my floor. Now, whenever I'm doing this type of work, I prefer to use a type of image known as a seamless tile. That means I can repeat this image edge to edge in any direction, and the edges will match up as if it was one larger image. You can typically find seamless tiles in texture libraries that are designed for 3D artists. These happen to come from the Exteriors collection sold by Artbeats. I'm going to bring my comp panel forward again, and I'm going to enable the 3D layer switch for my wall. Here you'll see axis arrows appear in the comp panel. Now, whenever you want to have a couple layers joined together edge to edge, such as the bottom of a wall to the back edge of a floor, it really helps to pay attention to where this anchor point is. This anchor point is a center around which layers rotate, around which they scale, and also when you talk about the position of a layer, what you're really talking about is where is this anchor point in the composition's space. Therefore, it's handy to put that anchor point at the edge of the layer. So I'm going to select my layer, type A to reveal its anchor point, and right-click on its values. I'll select Edit Value, and I'll get this additional dialog that allows me not just to enter the pixel position of the anchor point, but to do it in terms of the source itself. Since I want this anchor to be at the very bottom of my wall, I'll put it at 100% Y, Y being the up and down dimension. Click OK, and now you see that the wall has moved so that this anchor is at the very bottom of this still image. The position of the layer has not changed, just where the layer is drawn in relation to the anchor has changed. Okay, there's my wall. Turn that off for now. Now let's work on our floor. I'll select that, turn it on, enables 3D layer switch. Here's my axis arrows. Now the first thing I notice is that the grooves are running up and down. In my case, I'd like those grooves to run long ways across the floor from left to right. So I'm going to hit R to reveal the orientation and rotation properties for this layer. I'm going to rotate this layer 90 degrees in Z so that my grooves do run left and right. And now I'm going to move my anchor point into position so that's at the back of this floor. I'm going to type A to reveal the anchor, right-click, select Edit Value, and since I have flipped this wall around, I actually need to put the X dimension of the anchor at 100% X because I have rotated it 90 degrees. I'll click OK, and now you see that I've got my anchor at the bottom of what's eventually become my floor. Now let's rotate the floor down to position. Type R again to reveal the orientation, and start rotating it down until it's at 90 degrees and exactly edge on towards us. Now that I've done that, I can turn on both my wall and my floor layers, look at the position for each, P is the shortcut for position, and notice that they're at the exact same position value. That means their anchor points will join together and we'll have a seamless wall. Now it'd be easier if I could move those two objects as a unit, and to do that, I'll add a layer, new, null object. I'm going to name it something useful. So I'm going to type Command Shift, or on Windows, Control Shift plus Y. Change its name to Wall plus Floor Null. Press Return. Enable its 3D layer switch. Press P. Confirm that it's at the same position as the anchor points for my wall and my floor. And then I'm going to hold down Shift and press the F4 key to open up the parenting panel. I'm going to parent my two objects to my null object. Now, whenever I move the position of the null, it's going to move my wall and the floor along with it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it down to position, say somewhere around here or so, and then push it back in space. Let's go ahead and type these in. There. Now you might notice that after I've backed up this wall and floor in space, that they're not big enough to fill the entire composition. This is where I'm going to take advantage of these still images being seamless tiles. I'm going to select my wall, I'm going to use a plugin called Reptile, as in repeat in a tile position. This comes bundled with After Effects. I'll double click it and it'll be applied to my layer. And now I get to expand the layer as far as I need to in the right dimension. I know this image is 1024 pixels wide, so I'll do it for one complete tile, and expand it in the left dimension as well. And again, I know it's a 1024 pixel image. Press enter, and now I've got a wonderful seamless wall. By the way, Reptile comes with many other ways that you can go ahead and repeat images. So if you don't want a simple tile, you can go ahead and do all sorts of things like flipping, checkering, rotating, random orientation, different ways of creating a larger surface from one single image. Like there's the random flip. But I'm going to go back to my normal repeat because that's what I wanted for this wall. I'm going to go ahead and apply the same effect to my floor. Whenever you've applied an effect, it's the first one on your list underneath your effect menu. There's Reptile. Since I know I've rotated my floor 90 degrees, I need to actually expand it in the so-called up and down directions. And it's a little bit of a mental exercise whenever you've rotated layers, but you'll figure it out soon enough. If you do the wrong parameter, it'll become really obvious. So now I've got a repeated wall and floor. The next thing I'm going to do is add in the video layer that I hope to eventually project onto these surfaces. You can go ahead and just drag it down into your timeline panel, or you can use the keyboard shortcut of holding the Command key on Mac, Control on Windows, and pressing slash, and then it'll be added to your composition. And I'll enable the 3D layer switch for that video as well. Okay, the last thing I need to do is actually view this room in some form of 3D perspective to get an idea what's going on. I could add a camera, or at this point, to keep things simple, I can just take advantage of a custom view inside After Effects. These give me some poses I can use in After Effects without worrying about having to set up and manage a camera. If I want to change my pose, I'll select one of the camera tools. If you have After Effects CS3 or earlier, you've got Orbit, Track XY, which is left, right, up, down, or Track Z, closer, further away tools. You toggle through those by pressing the C key. If you have After Effects CS4, you can take advantage of the brand new Unified Camera tool. That tool, in combination with a 3-button mouse, allows you to access all of those tools just by pressing different buttons on your mouse. This is my left button, which allows me to rotate the pose of my layer. This is my center mouse button, which gives me my Track XY to go ahead and reposition it in these dimensions. And this is my right mouse button to go ahead and pull it closer or zoom it further away. I'll press V to return back to my normal selection tool. And I'm going to turn off my null object just so this little red square doesn't bother me. There we go. Okay, now we've built our floor and our wall. In the next movie, I'm going to show you how to project video onto that wall.